Man, stop playing. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Craig, and welcome to another edition of I Got 5 on it. And man, is there plenty to talk about. So without further delay, let's get straight into the business and get the proceeding this evening. Let's go. And batting leadoff, broken, busted, and disgusted because this Chargers team is beat to hell. Really sad. I've been a Chargers fan for over 20 years, and I've never seen an injury-riddled season quite like this, which is saying something because we've seen some doozies. But the injury reaper has decided to just pull up a lawn chair and some snacks, and it's just a who's who every week. It's literally gotten to the point now where you expect it, and the question is, who's it going to be? Tell you what, though, what's even stranger when you look at it in a vacuum is the fact that the Chargers have now lost 4 interior defensive linemen in 1 week. Let's think about it. Austin Johnson last week, with Tito Ogbonnia and Christian Covington against the 49ers. Well, actually last week is when this happened. The week before was Austin Johnson. And also, now Raider, Jerry Tillery, which could be addition by subtraction, depending on how you want to look at it, because now you can't even recognize the defensive front. But hey, Raiders, I don't know what it is about our skid marks that you love so much, but look, you can have this cat gladly. As a matter of fact, I can't wait to see him versus Corey Linsley. Hoo-wee, that is going to be appointment television. I'm not missing that for anything. So, I mean, Jerry, go ahead, do your thing, man. You're someone else's problem now, so. For the Dooski, tough as a $2 steak. That's how I would describe the Chargers defense against the Niners last week. Got to give it up to them. That was a rugged performance. I had somebody tell me, and this is one of the reasons why I need to stay off of Twitter, that the reason why the Chargers lost is because they were just outmatched. The 49ers had more talent than them. But for some reason, that didn't really matter for about 52 minutes of this game. Somehow this overmatched team managed to hold a lead for a significant portion of the game. Started off because of the offense, but a lot of it had to do with the defense. And only the Chargers will lose multiple defensive linemen when they figure out the week before that they should probably start running a 6-1. Literally 4 defensive linemen on the field, 2 edge guys, 1 linebacker. Kenneth Murray not being that middle linebacker, but I did say that he should probably play a little edge in that scheme, and he did. Was it always pretty? No, but biggest thing for me was just to have him in there mucking things up, but we'll get to K9 in a minute. Again, I just want to give a shout out to the defense for playing as hard as they did. It was a really gritty performance. Unfortunately, you get into the second half, you're playing a team that likes to bludgeon you by running the ball. You run out of defensive linemen, and you got the same 3 dudes having to play almost every snap in the fourth quarter. You can't run the 6-1 anymore. And things change. But again, bravo to the defense. This way, y'all can't say I'm not saying anything positive. They stepped up to the plate for the most part, man. So just, salutes and props to y'all. So let's see what we can do moving forward. Hopefully once Joey comes back in a few weeks, it can help to solidify things. But again, bravo, gents. It didn't result in a dub, but that type of play will pay off if you can muster it every week. Just give that type of effort. That's what I like to see. Be dogs out there. Number 3, 99 problems. Yeah, Kenneth. I'm sorry, dog. We got to do it. Bro, there's good Kenneth Murray, and then there's more often than not bad Kenneth Murray. Now, here's the thing. We saw a couple splash plays. See him scrape, get down the line of scrimmage and make some plays. We saw him shoot a gap and make a tackle for loss. Now, the dude cannot bend his waist and get lower than anyone to make a tackle. Every tackle is going to be up high, which is why he's going to miss his fair share of them. It's been this way literally since the kid was in high school. It's a thing. Just cannot. His form tackling is horrible, and they just, for whatever reason, fundamentally, they can't get that worked out. But, I mean, we're at a point now where maybe dude's just broken and he can't be fixed. the fact that you're a liability as a middle linebacker, which is not his natural position. We've been down this road plenty of times before. But ultimately, man, the fact that essentially his role is to be a kamikaze attacker, getting upfield, shooting gaps, blitzing. It's cool if you want to use K9 as an attack dog. But man, I mean, if that's his one trick, then I mean, you can absolutely do things to contain it. I mean, defensives have. You can't sit him in the middle of the field. I tell you what, anytime I see a third down with Kenneth Murray on the field, and I don't care if Drew Tranquil is next to him, if he's in coverage, the ball's going to end up going somewhere in his general vicinity. And 9 times out of 10, he's going to be either out of position or he's going to try to be in coverage on a running back out of the backfield, whether it be on an angle route or if it's a pass out into the flat and dude has to go out there and get square to make a tackle. It's not going to happen. His cleats are going to be over here. His body is going to be somewhere 5 yards away, and it's probably going to result in either a big play or at least a significant gain. But at the end of the day, man, can we just admit it? Kenneth ain't it. Great guy, great personality, good leader. I can do without the flexing anytime you do something decent, because it makes it seem like you've never done it before and you get a little ahead of yourself. Dog, just get back in the huddle. Do it again. Let's get some consistency going before you start trying to be the man or showing yourself off to be that. But I don't know how much more development there is for him. Don't think it's going to get much better. And I've spent too much time talking about him, so moving along. Number 4. Let's give 10 a hand. I mean, literally give him a hand. But also, can we help the man? Look, man, we keep asking this question every week. What's the Chargers' identity? Well, I'll tell you. Have 10 save the day every week. Essentially, that's what they are. They're riding Justin Herbert for all it's worth. Doesn't matter if the dude's got busted ribs or not. If he's not leading the charge, no pun intended, then what do the Chargers do well? If not leaning on him, what can they depend on? And in the NFL, man, look, let's just be honest. You have to be able to win more than one way. Or if you are able to win one way, then you have to be like all-time great at that one way to win. The Chargers ain't that. They're not super prolific in the passing game. We know about the running game, and what they do have is a superstar quarterback. And what he does is makes his offensive coordinator look good at times. Oh, Joe, you're up next, man. Don't think I forgot about you at all. I'm saving the best for last. We're going to go in on you. But back to 10. Nice first drive. First quarter looked good. He was moving around, running again. Still looks a little tentative running the ball, but you can tell the ribs must be getting better. We're starting to see more of Justin Herbert from years past, and I just want them to do something to give the man a freaking assist, dog. Just figure it out. I, for the life of me, don't understand why the running game seemingly can't work. We see it happen in spurts, but then the play calling gets super weird and clunky, and it throws everything off, and then you end up behind the sticks and down the distance, and it's Justin, hey, figure it out with limited resources. I digress. I can sit here and go on and on about our bright shining boy, but give it a rest, because up next, oh yeah, we gotta talk about somebody else, and I got lots to say. Number 5, Joe Dirt. Mr. Lombardi, come pull up a seat, man. We got to chat. That's it. I've had enough. I've had my fill. You guys have heard my opinions about Lombardi. Heard me talk to Garrett and Jamie about it. We share very similar thoughts. I, for one, thought the man should have been gone at the bye. Knew it probably wasn't going to happen. I was hoping above hopes that it would. But unfortunately, man, this whole relationship thing with Staley is real. And it sounded great in the beginning, but now might be an Achilles heel. But Joe, this is about you. put Brandon off to the side for a second. You know where it's good to be predictable? In marriage, in your career, as a parent, because predictability isn't a bad thing in those areas, because if you're someone that can be counted on to do the right thing, then everyone knows what to expect. Now, as an offensive coordinator, not so great, especially, as I said before, if what you do isn't all time amazing. And Joe, you ain't anywhere close to that, man. As a play designer, let's back this thing on up a bit. Y'all know I'm from Louisiana, right? Around the New Orleans area. So as a Chargers fan who grew up amongst a family full of Saints fans, I had my experience watching the Saints and the real Saints fans back when they were the Aints and wearing bags on their head going to the dome. Like, those are the fans I respect. Once they got good and won a Super Bowl and suddenly you start seeing Florida leaves popping up everywhere, like those folks, I don't really care for them too much. But I had to watch them win a Lombardi. And you know, like, who I never saw throughout the whole Drew Brees run, like ever for anything, was Joe Lombardi. Because Joe Lombardi wasn't calling freaking plays for Drew Brees. Joe was sitting in the cut as Drew's QB coach, doing whatever he does. I'm sure he has some input about some stuff that he saw. But look, man, your quarterback's Drew Brees and Sean Payton's your head coach, who's an offensive cat. And really wasn't a whole lot Joe had to do. Now, you know, they're being nice and threw him some props. And he went off to Detroit and tried to do his thing. We saw how that worked out. He went back to the Saints. And now he's with us. And I don't know what people expected. You thought just because Joe Lombardi was a part of that system that he was going to come here and suddenly take what was successful there and manifest it in LA. And I'm here to tell you, I don't understand why. I'm not absolved from this, okay? I believed that there was a chance that it could work because you had a phenomenal rookie QB. You had a rookie head coach who's a former quarterback, even though he's a defensive-minded guy, and someone who sat in a system where he watched two of the best to ever do it come together on a weekly basis and make it happen. Unfortunately, he didn't absorb any of that know-how by osmosis or anything else, man. I don't know what he took away. But let's also consider this. You're running an offense, well, the skeleton of an offense that was designed in the beginning in 2006 for Drew Brees. And you're trying to run it starting in 2021 for Justin Herbert. Not the same type of guy. But I'll even one up you. The offense hasn't even evolved. So if the skeleton of it was the Saints playbook, one thing I can tell you about the Saints is there was a lot more balance. I know people know Drew Brees for slinging the ball around the yard, but a lot of that stuff was set up by the run. There were games where they didn't lean on him heavily, and they allowed their running back group, which consisted of some really good backs, to establish the offense, and they ran play action off of that. And they were able to get a bunch of timing routes situated, and they have variety at wide receiver. I could go on and on and on, but you know what? I will not. Let me just say this. Does it sound feasible for an offense created in 2006 for a quarterback with a less than... I'm not going to trash on Drew. Drew's got a less than stellar arm. He's also 6 feet tall. Does that sound like an offense that should be designed for a 6'6" guy who runs 4.6? I mean, I wouldn't imagine, also 240 pounds versus like 215 pounds. I wouldn't imagine that there's a whole lot of correlation between those two types of players to where you should have an offense designed to fit both of them to run exactly the same way. Now, again, if the bones of this thing was supposed to be the Saints offense and then it evolved into something more, which is what I think they led us to believe, then that would be different. But this offense has regressed. Again, I get it. When you don't have your top, 3 of your top 4 wide receiving options, You're down your top 2 tight ends. I get all of that. But do keep in mind, if we're just going back to this past week, we can discuss how the game started off with Joe Lombardi doing some things that threw me off guard. There was window dressing pre-snap. They were actually using the run to set up the pass, which is why that opening drive ended up in a touchdown. It was really a sight to behold. And I thought, oh, wait, maybe Joe's turning over another leaf. And you know what I figured it out to be? I think Joe has about like 12 or 15 plays scripted up, and he literally goes to town on those 12 to 15. And if he had a good week, puts together a good plan, maybe even Shane Day was involved. I don't know. Comes out, and it works tremendously. And then after that 12 to 15, it all goes to hell. In the second half, you saw a much more static offense pre-snap. I don't understand why the hell Michael Bandy was playing outside. Why would Michael Bandy be anywhere but in the slot? And then, of course, when all else fails and none of your base plays are working and you've run out of ideas, just run a jet sweep to Nick Bosa's side where he's unblocked. Okay, man, look, that's the end of my rant because, again, that's not what y'all tuned in for. Y'all didn't come to listen to me go off on Joe Lombardi for like 15 to 20 minutes. It's been 7 and counting at this point, so let's just cut it off here. At the end of the day, I'm done with the dude. It's time for him to go. That's it. They probably won't. He'll more than likely be here for the rest of the year, and they'll lean on the injury stuff to give him an excuse to stay. Keenan looks like he may be coming back soon. Mike Will, it would take literally his foot to fall off for him not to play against the Kansas City Chiefs because, like I said before, Mike Will is Popeye, the Chiefs are spinach. For some reason, it just works. And he goes the hell off every time he plays against Kansas City. So maybe this week, the offense looks better. It would be hard for it to look worse. Anyway, with that said, man, look, it's been your boy. Until next time, next week, I'll catch y'all. Hopefully, Chargers can pull one off at home. Sunday night, back-to-back primetime games, consecutive weeks. Primetime Herbert again on the big stage, and hopefully he's got his weapons to distribute the ball to, so it looks a little bit better. But no matter what, I'll be back with another 5 of them things, man, for your head tops. So until then, y'all take it easy. Catch y'all later. Gone.